This is the meeting after the meeting. None of our participants get paid, and we don't speak for Alcoholics Anonymous. Enjoy the show. Is that a saxophone? Or what is that?
Ooh, is that a laser? It sounds like a car alarm.
It's like, again, you know what this sounds like? It sounds like we mean business. We are serious.
I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless.
Like, get ready. It's about to be on.
It actually sounds like an advertisement, if we're being honest.
It kind of does, but I don't even know what to really. Yeah. We'll take it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
We'll take it. Another week, another episode, episode 8.
Unbelievable.
Back around. Chris, how you feeling today?
Good. It feels, I know we've only done 8 episodes, but I feel like it's been a lot of work.
It has been a lot of work.
Just to get here.
Life is busy. And,
oh my God.
But it's fun.
Oh, it's great.
We're having a lot of fun, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
I'm excited for our guests.
I'm excited too. Why don't we get into it? This is the meeting after the meeting. I'm John.
I'm Chris.
Welcome to the show, everybody. We are back, another episode.
And Gabe.
And we will. I was gonna introduce Gabe in a second. I was gonna get there.
He got a little touchy before the show. He said, "Don't forget to introduce me."
Mischaracterization. Not true.
Well, why don't we do it now? Gabe, let's introduce Gabe, the producer. Gabe, how you doing?
Doing well. What's up, everyone?
You having a good week so far?
Yeah. I saw the cherry blossoms yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Where did you go? Where did you go?
DC. I guess where they are.
Well, there's a couple places.
By the wharf. By the wharf.
By the tidal base.
Like there's a specific place where they are.
I went to where
there's
they
a couple
are.
places. There's a couple places.
There's a couple. I mean, there's
wherever they
sure.
are is where I went.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You were on the tidal base. So that's good. What did you think?
It was beautiful.
Did you have a little spiritual experience?
No, but I took pictures with my significant other.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. How was that?
Some romantic pictures. It was really nice.
Did you post them online?
No, she posted one on her story, and then I reposted that, but that was it. I don't post anything on for the most part. Nobody cares.
I've never seen you on social media. That's why I was kind of laughing. I was like, I don't know if Gabe actually posts anything.
Nah, it's just for my own use.
Yeah.
I get it, Gabe. Nobody cares about our social media either.
Yeah.
But you know what social media you should care about?
Ooh.
The meeting after the meeting. We've got an
transition.
Instagram page. We've got a TikTok. We're up to, where are we at on Instagram?
I think we have like 60,000
followers. 70. We're pushing.
70s.
Put this
We're
way,
not even close.
We're getting close to 100. We need your help. We need your support.
Yeah.
Follow us. It's at, what is it?
TMATM Live.
At TMATM Live on both Instagram and TikTok. We're
Yep.
continuing to talk about better content, cooler content we're going to be putting out. So keep on the lookout. At a minimum, you get reminders of the
show.
Show.
That's pretty much what it is now.
And what's coming up. So with that, I think real quick, the meeting after the meeting is a weekly podcast that is recorded live on Zoom on Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. You can find the audio recordings on all major podcast platforms, and you can find the videos on our link tree. Past videos are there. They're password protected if you would like to check those out. So good things. Why don't we get into the show tonight?
Yeah.
We have an amazing guest. We've got a great topic, a great newcomer tip of the week, and the sketch of the week is one of my favorites. I'm excited.
They're all good this week.
They are. This should be a lot of fun. So make sure you stick around to hear our sketch of the week. But with that, let's introduce our guest tonight, Sara G. from Bethesda, Maryland.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, Sara.
Hey.
They're loving you. You hear that?
They're going wild.
How's it going?
It's going well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be here. It's a super cool setup
Yeah.
you guys have. Yeah, it's good.
We're really glad you're here.
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time. We know you've got a busy life, and for you to come out and take the time out of your day. I will say this. I asked Sarah before the episode, I said, have you listened to any of ours? And she said, no, I have not. She said, I'm sorry. And I was like, don't be sorry.
Well, let me
I don't think anyone has yet.
let me do this plug, which is that I did subscribe on Apple Podcasts,
Okay.
and I will start listening. I didn't know I could do that, so
Yeah.
they'll be in my queue.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'll be listening.
There you
Well,
go.
yours will be out here in a couple days, and you'll be able to listen to that first, which is fun to listen to your own voice on audio.
So fun.
Definitely make your fiance listen to it
I will make my
over and over
fiance.
again every morning.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'll make it his alarm, so when it goes off, he just hears my voice.
Here's you.
Yeah.
I was thinking, has anybody here ever listened to their own talk, like an recorded AA talk?
Actually, Sarah was
on purpose, like,
Sarah
is
was
anybody-
involved in this. We listened to that one talk I gave where I was not so nice to some people.
Oh my
on that
God.
talk. And that's why I listened to it. And it was
Yeah.
it was pretty bad.
But aside
Yeah.
from that, you haven't
But I
been
had-
like,
no.
let me just pull up one of my talks.
No.
Yeah,
No.
never?
Never. I can't. I'm like, that's cringe. You know what I mean?
I've talked to some people who
Full transparency, I did make amends for that, by the way.
You did?
That's
did.
good. I remember exactly what you said too. I'm not going to repeat it, but I remember.
don't
Yeah,
need to.
but I remember exactly what you said.
Well, it's good that you
We're
made
cool now.
amends.
We're
Yeah,
good.
good.
We're good.
I think I've definitely talked to people who have told me they listen to their talks and critique themselves, and they love it. So,
That's just weird. I mean,
hey, to each his own, I guess, right?
I can't stand the sound of my voice.
I think about myself enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, with that being said, let's get some more of your voice on here, Sarah. Why don't you give us what we call the
Wait,
stats?
hold on. Did you pick that sweater out just for the show?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely. It's like so positive, and I'm like
does.
good vibes. So that's what we're bringing.
What do we say in A? We keep our head in the cloud.
No, we don't.
Hold on, I got some meeting shrapnel here. Hold on.
Let's hear this meeting shrapnel. Jared,
Keep
you listening?
our
There we go.
head in the clouds and our feet on the ground or something.
I've never heard that.
I've never heard that.
You've never heard that?
No.
Why would you want to keep your head in the clouds?
Because it's light.
That
It's
sounds like
lofty.
You took too much.
I'm telling you,
Like,
I'm not. That's not the exact saying, but there is something like that where it's like, just keep our feet firmly planted on the ground, but our head kind of up in the clouds. You know,
that sounds like you're still in rehab taking
Yeah,
some
that's-
meds, dude.
that's the pink cloud. All right. Well, Sarah, why don't you just tell us a little bit your sobriety date, sponsor, home group, all that.
The stats.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got sober July 30th of 2012. I have a sponsor. I always say she knows she's my sponsor, right?
Yeah, it's important.
And,
It's important.
and I have a home group. It's a women's meeting in McLean. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
That's great. And do you live in Bethesda?
yeah, I live in
Okay.
Bethesda. Yep.
All right, awesome. So, well, that's great. We've both known you for pretty much since you got sober,
Yeah.
and been able to watch you grow and come a long way. I know you and Chris at one point
We were working together.
worked
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
so it's nice. We know
Yeah.
your story, so
Yeah. Yeah. Chris was there for maybe some of the darkest times of my sobriety.
Yeah.
I was a mess.
She was in sobriety, chased down by the feds, I think.
Oh my God.
Maybe we'll hear about it.
I thought about making the topic
Like everyone,
something
she was
revolving
innocent.
around
Yeah.
something like that, but I was like, nah, let's stay away from that. But with that being said, why don't we get into the 3 W's here and start out with a little bit about what you were like.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we have limited time here, so I'll keep it somewhat short, but I was definitely one of those people who always felt really uncomfortable. As long as I can remember, I for sure had these ideas that things outside of myself could, fix what was happening inside. There was like a lot of turmoil, I guess, and just felt like that separation and loneliness that people in AA talk about, like pretty much my whole life, and none of that stuff really, makes me alcoholic, but it definitely like fueled my alcoholism. Right. And I always tell this story, which is the first time I really got like good and drunk, which I was with a friend of mine, and we were hanging out with like her older sister, and they gave me warm Budweiser and cranberry juice and tequila, which are just like the flavors conflict. Like they don't go, they're actually horrific.
Sounds terrible.
It was horrible, and like not a cube of ice to be found, you know, like I don't,
Just warm.
yeah, it was all warm, and that made no sense because we were in a house. But I mean, what happened is I was this summer going into my freshman year of high school, and I went 0 to 100 so quick and just threw up everywhere. I was like, I mean, puked on every surface possible,
like a sprinkler.
Literally like The Exorcist, you know? And I remember having this thought when I woke up of like, oh my God, I looked so stupid in front of these people, you know, these like cool older people, which they were like 25 drinking with 13-year-olds. So not that cool, but
not very cool.
Not cool. Yeah.
Yikes.
But it's like that, like fear of like how I'm perceived by people, like following me around. Right. And I actually didn't drink again for a really long time. I am someone who found like, I started smoking weed in high school, and like I did that, you know, and I had stuff going on at home. So there weren't a ton of rules for me growing up. Like I really could do whatever I wanted, and my house really quickly became the house where people would like come and drink and stuff, and I could smoke weed openly and like do all of that stuff, you know. And so
Party at Sarah's.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And everyone would come over on Fridays, and it was like a thing, you know. And I was just like, I don't know, I fast forward a little bit, and I was hanging out with a group of friends at my house, and they had 40s. And I mean, this is like 2 or 3 years after the first time drinking, and my friends are drinking Hurricanes, and I took a sip, and the thing happened, you know, that thing that we talked about, like my whole life changed.
Like New Orleans Hurricanes?
No, like a Hurricane 40.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, that's very sophisticated for you
I don't
to
know
be drinking.
if sophisticated is the right word.
No,
but
I mean
specific.
like a New Orleans hurricane is.
Yeah, we went
how
out.
would you know to do
We
this?
went to the liquor store. We bought 5 different types of liquor because that's what's in the. No, like a Hurricane 40.
Got it. Yeah,
And
Chris is
Yeah.
high end, top shelf club and bar liquor.
I don't think I've ever drinking a Mad Dog.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually
Chris
also
is bougie,
I've never
was
had a Mad
bougie
Dog.
drinker.
Bougie, yeah,
I never had
top
a Mad
shelf.
Dog. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, I've never
I
drank
drink
a Mad Dog.
every day.
John,
I'm like, I should have been
sponsored by Mad Dog.
I mean, I should have been homeless sleeping under a bridge. I wasn't, but I should have been.
But yeah, and I mean, from that point, it's just like everything changed for me, you know, and I, within 3 months, had like dropped out of high school, like was living with my older drug dealer boyfriend, and like,
Yes.
like lost my job at the tanning
Those
salon
are-
that I loved.
We call those goals.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly.
That's like you. You dropped out of high school right away.
Immediately. Yeah,
Wait a
immediately. I really felt like I was really like these fucking losers, you know? Like I was like,
yeah,
these,
good.
like, they don't
Delusional
get it.
arrogance.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, I really felt like that I had arrived thing. Like I was doing everything that I wanted to do, right? And that didn't last long, you know? Like things just like got bad as they do.
And this is, and I'll say, and Jerry will probably call this meeting shrapnel also, but I'll say it anyway. Booze gave me the feeling of a job well done without having to do a damn thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, drinking to me, like I had all of these friends who were like doing things, you know, like I had like friends who were super into art or like really into school and like had colleges that they really wanted to go to, and you know, people who played sports, like, and they all had this thing, and I drank that 40 and I was like, this is my thing, you know, like I was like, this is it. And it was for a while, you know, like I loved it. And even before that, I loved like the sort of like, I don't know, I loved the idea of like being the party girl. I wanted attention, you know, is like what it was. Like I wanted all eyes on me, you know? And so, yeah, drinking just so quickly like became the center of my life, you know, at the age of 18.
So sounds like it was a lot of fun at first.
Yeah.
What started happening that made it not so fun?
Yeah. I mean, I think that like I can say it was a lot of fun, but there were kind of always problems from the beginning, right? I just talked about like dropping out of high school and like this stuff, like, but essentially this is kind of, I don't know. It's a long story, but my mom ended up kicking me out after I broke the drug dealer boyfriend I broke up, and my mom kicked me out, and I didn't have anywhere to go. And I had a friend, and she was like, I sleep on this futon, and she.
I love this story. This story's amazing.
She's like, I sleep on this futon. It's a double, and
futon.
yeah,
She's really selling it.
She was selling it. And the guys it was like just in these two college guys' living room that like wanted to make some extra money, they were like actually totally normal. And
No. They definitely weren't normal.
well, not to have two like girls sleeping on their living room, but I mean they weren't alcoholics.
Yeah.
One of them had this like on top of the fridge there was a bottle of vodka. It was like Bacardi orange or whatever, and like by the time we moved out, it was water because I had drank it all. It was gone, but
one night.
It was gone. Yeah. But, I mean, and I was living on this like fucking futon, and I was like, this is temporary. And then I like lived there for like 18 months, like had no job. And like, I was just like running around with people. Some of my friends had gone to college, but like even my friends from high school didn't really want to hang out with me. And I was like, crazy shit was happening, right? Like I was like hanging out in like crack houses and like I wasn't really smoking crack. Like I was just drinking like a little bit of crack, but like not too much, like
social crack.
Yeah. So yeah, recreational.
Yeah, recreational.
And like,
this is a safe place.
Yeah. And I was hanging out once with like, these are my friends, and like, we're hanging out at this like empty house, right? Like nobody lived there, and we broke in and we're hanging out there, and like SWAT comes in and raids because somebody robbed a KFC,
Nice.
like that kind of shit was going on. Yeah. And I mean, what was going on in my head was like, honestly, like it's like, I'm here because my dad didn't love me enough, like I'm here because I grew up poor, like that kind of shit. Like none of it was my fault. It wasn't related to my drinking, like all of that stuff. Right. So
it's the narrative that you tell yourself.
1000%. And like, things just continued to get worse, which is actually crazy because my circumstances started to get better. And what I mean by that is like, I got a room with like 4 walls and a bed, like, I mean, really, like I started working in the restaurant industry. I was making money. I met people who were seemingly drinking the way that I was drinking. Right. And like, and I don't know, like my friends started talking to me about the way that I was drinking. Like I said, to me, I was like, we were all doing the same thing, but it would literally be like, Sara, like when I take a sip, you take a sip, like coaching me through drinking because I was a liability,
That's the worst.
Yeah. And it's just like the managers are talking to me and I'm just like, why is everyone on my fucking back, But I will say that like, the like self-loathing that we feel, like I was feeling it, like I was like, it was like so regular for me. I picked up a little bit of a cocaine habit. And so like, it was pretty standard. Yeah.
Been there.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Gabe, no cocaine. All right. That's all right.
Ketamine.
3 for 4. Ketamine. Hey,
That's good.
it's another winner.
Yeah.
Like some warm ketamine in the morning.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Wakes you up. I think it actually puts you to sleep.
It
I don't
does.
really know. Yeah, it's like a horse trinket.
It definitely paralyzes you.
Yeah,
It's
for
an
sure.
animal tranquilizer.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
let's just say one night I was throwing up and I didn't feel my body throw up.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's
a plus.
That sounds safe.
Plus.
Yeah,
It was
that's
really
chill.
scary.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying.
Oh, I thought it sounded great. I mean, I'm like, no, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, you just let it all
Throwing
out.
up, I hate throwing up. I don't have to feel it.
So for the sake of time, we have to move on. So what happened to you? Sounds like things got bad. What was your kind of jumping off place? What was your moment of clarity where you realized maybe you couldn't keep going on?
So I woke up one morning. I was once again late. I was once again still drunk. I went to work. They fired me. And
I wonder why.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. Well, in my mind, I was like,
you were the victim.
Yeah, I was like, you guys just lost the best fucking cocktail waitress this town has ever seen. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I was like, you fucking losers. Yeah, exactly.
You don't know what you're missing.
And then what happened is I walked outside, right? And like, I think that the reality of the situation like hit me, which is that like my life I was 22 years old and my life was like a house of cards, you know, and it just felt like everything was falling. And I go home and I'm sitting in this fucking unfinished basement that I live in. And like, I'm looking at the rafters and I'm like, I'm just going to fucking kill myself, you know, like honestly. And the reason I felt like that is because throughout my drinking, I had all of these ideas of like at 21, like at 18 years old, like this is how 18-year-olds drink, you know, at 20 years old, this is how 20-year-olds drink. And like, that was the narrative in my head. And I just had this realization, like a moment of grace I see now, which is that like nothing is ever going to change. This is your life. You know, like there's no adult day coming where you're just going to like be better. Like there's no guy, there's no job, there is nothing. No one is coming for you, you know? And like that, like the thought of continuing to live the way that I had been living with like the feelings that I'd been feeling, like the shame that I felt because of all of the things that I had done, you know, like I carried all that stuff and it just hit me all at once, you know? And what followed that thought was like, call your mom. And my mom and I hadn't spoken for a few months because it was like every call was like a lie. And I needed something. I need money.
I need money.
I need money.
Thinking, that's the only time I talk to my family.
Or, I mean, she, like, my mom, like, has some of her own stuff, you know, and she had a lot of pills. And so I would like, you know, steal or manipulate or whatever.
Set up a visit. So
yeah,
you could
exactly.
get what you needed.
Yeah, exactly. I have a migraine, you know, like it was just like, she was like done with my shit, you know, and, but I actually reached out to her. I say in my story that I called her, but I actually like my phone was cut off. Like that's how unmanageable I was. So I had to Facebook message her like on Wi-Fi, you know, like, and she had it. It's just, my life was
new guy message.
It's
Facebook.
yes, exactly.
I'm on Wi-Fi right now, so you can't hit me back.
You can't hit me back. Yeah, I'm not going to get it.
Ideas.
I'm not going to get it till I get to my destination. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, I need to talk to you. And she came over, you know? And I told her the truth. And to me, the truth was like, I have a drug problem. Like I said, like I was kind of like doing the cocaine thing. And I really led with that because like, even then I wasn't willing to look at my drinking, you know? And what happened is like the truth started to come out and I started to just talk about the drinking a little bit. And somehow I said something like, I can't drink anymore, you know, and I don't know where that came from. Again, now I see all of this as grace, but like at the time I just didn't even know where any of it was coming from, you know, but I will say, I told my mom, I was like, I have a drug problem. She's like, that makes a lot of sense. You know, that was her response.
You know, the drinking, and I was in the same boat. There's nothing in my life actually that pointed to me having a drinking problem. I never had a DUI, not even a drinking citation. And it was so hard because drinking was such a social part of my life. It's like, okay, yeah, you know, smoking crystal meth, you know, shooting crystal meth, doing cocaine, you know, all the meds I was doing, you know what I mean? Like, that's probably could go. That could go. You know what I mean? It's not really that cool. But drinking, that means that no more friends, no more hanging out.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, no more clubs, no more bars.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
My life was the bar scene.
Yeah.
You know, all my friends were like in the industry and my family life was all drinking, you know, like my second birthday was a keg party. Like, it's just like the way our family is, you know? So there was,
your second birthday party was a keg party?
Yeah, there was a live band
Pretty
too.
lit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it was just like the way that I was raised, you know, like drinking is a huge part of our family life.
For a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so normal. And like, I don't know. I just thought like, this is normal, you know? And so similarly to you, Chris, like on the outside, I feel like I could get away with it a little bit, you know, like I was like living in Ballston, you know, I was like working at a restaurant, like I had friends, you know, I was drinking at bars, like all of this stuff, but like, it was just such a fucking disaster, you know, like everything was just so bad. Like I was like crawling out of my window to avoid my roommates because I hadn't paid rent, you know, like that kind of shit was happening. And like, I really had like the last year of my drinking. I mean, there were so many times that I would wake up in the morning and just say like, I'm not going to do it again today. And it wasn't like, I'm not going to drink again today. It was like, I'm going to just like go home. I'm going to like make some dinner. I'm going to watch some Grey's Anatomy. And I'm going to go to bed, you know, like, I mean, really like that. I was like, I'm going to be a normal person because I knew that I wasn't a normal person, but I didn't know like what was wrong, you know? And it was like, I'm not going to wake up in strangers' beds anymore. Like, I'm not going to wake up with no cash in my pocket. You know, I worked at a hockey bar and the Caps were in the playoffs and I would walk out with like $500 and like, I would wake up and it would be gone, you know? And it was just like, how did this happen again every single day for the last year?
So crazy. We were down there during the playoffs hanging out.
Yeah. Well, depends when. I mean,
well, this was like
2012.
This is a long. No.
Yeah, it was 2012.
2012.
Well, it was 2011 because it was like the end of the year, I think. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like where that landed. But
they won the championship.
I was sober. That was like 5 years ago. Yeah.
Time is going by.
Time is an elusive thing, right?
About the Stanley Cup run?
Yeah, I was like, we definitely didn't win any championships, but
2011.
Yeah, but like, I mean, it was just my whole life was a mess, you know. But I was like a young girl. Like, I feel like I could have still gotten away, but the drugs brought me to my knees, right? Like, honestly, like that's what happened. So
what was your introduction to AA? How did you find AA, and what was it that kind of made you think, all right, I'm going to give this a shot?
Yeah, so I ended up in a detox in Fairfax, and I remember nothing about being in detox, right? Like, I will say that.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, they keep you on the floor for like the first 24 hours or whatever, and then they ended up taking me to an AA meeting, and I walk into this meeting, and it was in the same hospital as the detox. Excuse me, and I walk in and there were like all of these bikers. It was like a bikers meeting in a hospital, which is so crazy now that I think about it. But they had leathers and like beards, and the wheels started turning. You know, I was like, as soon as I get back, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. You know, I was just like, this is crazy. And the guy opens up, and it was like this older guy. Like I said, he had his leathers on, he had a beard, and he was probably in his like late 50s or 60s. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? You know? And he started talking, and he talked about being full of fear. And like that struck me, right? Like that.
Language of the heart.
Yeah, 1000%. Like it felt like something clicked in me, you know? Like, I mean, really, because it was this moment where I just realized that that's that feeling that I had felt my whole life, right? This like driving force in all of the decisions that I made when people would be like, why would you do that? Why didn't you come? Why did you leave? You know, like every single question, it's like, because I was scared, you know, because I was scared. And I didn't realize that's what the feeling was. And so that really, really struck me. And I will say that, like, he also talked about being self-centered, and I was like, oh, that's not me, you know? but that alone made me think maybe there was something in AA. Yes. From there, I ended up in like a little bit of a longer term treatment. I came home, I ended up in an Oxford house, and my roommate in the Oxford house was a member of a home group I was a part of for a really, really, really long time. And she just like put me in her back pocket. I mean, she was like, my friends are your friends. Like, we're going to this meeting. You know, when I finally did get a sponsor, well, I'll take a step back and just say that I came here and I saw like a lot of shiny, happy people. And I did not think I would ever be like that. You know, I like saw these people that just seemed so okay. And I just didn't think I would be ever okay. And so I just say that because I felt like it wouldn't work for me, you know, like not that I didn't have alcoholism, not that I like, I don't know, but I just was like, this might work for you guys, but it's not going to work for me. And I think it's important to say that because I think a lot of people feel that way when they come in.
I mean, that level of joy that you see in people's eyes it's inconceivable.
Yes.
As an alcoholic in our bottles, you know what I mean?
1000%.
We've never been
It's
able
also
to
very
get there.
annoying when you have been using alcohol as that social lubricant to make you feel comfortable. And now you're around a bunch of people who are happy like they are on alcohol, but you're not drinking.
But you're not drinking.
Exactly.
And the thing is, like, I can fake it. Like, that's, you know, for me, like, I can put on like a smile and I can put on some makeup and a cute outfit and I can show up to the meeting, right? But I wanted to die and I wasn't telling anyone what was going on, you know? And that's like where you kind of fuck yourself, right? Is
that thought almost killed me.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I immediately thought, whatever's wrong with these people is I'm clearly different because they are not drinking and they're happy. And that kept me out of AA for another 3 years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
I was like, I'll see you later. I don't know.
Yeah,
you guys are weird. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? And because I didn't understand alcoholism.
1,000%. Absolutely. And, you know, what happened is I don't know, like I got like a group of friends. Well, I ended up drinking. I did drink once, right? And like, it was demoralizing. Like I ended up puking. My dad was like holding my hair back. Like I had nowhere else to go. It was rough. I was like living in an Oxford house, so I couldn't go home. And like, it was just like horrible.
And by this point you didn't have a sponsor. You hadn't worked any steps.
I did have a sponsor, but I hadn't worked any steps.
I hadn't done
no. Like, but I will say my first sponsor who I had, we did talk about the first step, and she like really broke it down for me in a way that changed my perspective on alcoholism, which was, you know, I heard that word powerless and I was just like, seems dramatic, you know? And like, she talked about, well, how many times did you change your mind? You know? And like, I just talked about it like every day for the last year. I changed my mind because I was going to like go home and be a normal girl and like, you know, be good. And like, it never happened. And, you know, the way my brain worked was it was so clear to me, you know, in that moment that like, I don't know if in that moment, but it was clear to me that like there was something that I had alcoholism, right? And I drank after that. And so I don't know. And I don't even know if I had the thought of like, this is going to be different. I don't know. I think I just had no defense because I hadn't worked any steps. No, 1,000%. Like she was even like, why didn't you call me? And I was like, I didn't want you to stop me. Yeah. You know, like it was like, what do you mean? Why did I go? Why didn't I call you? I wanted to drink, you know? And what happened was I like came back to AA. I got another sponsor. It was bullshit. Honestly, someone said like, get someone who has what you want. She had a nice car, nice watch. I was like, I want that. And I didn't call her or, you know, really. And I sat in AA for a few months and I was removed from alcohol and I wanted to kill myself. And I didn't understand why, because I was in AA, you know, like I was in AA. That was really the like idea that I had was that like, was that I should be fine because this is out of my life, you know, and nobody was saying that, but that's what I thought. So I don't know. I saw the people around me getting better. And what I mean by that is they seemed lighter, you know, they seemed happier. They weren't scared to go places. Like they were repairing relationships with their families. And I just felt so apart from that. And like, I wanted to kill myself at like 5 months sober. And so I honestly asked someone who scared the shit out of me to be my sponsor. And she is still my sponsor today, you know? And she was just like, she just dragged me through the steps is what she did. I mean, really, you know, like she just dragged me through the steps. Like she broke it down. She was like, if you don't talk about what's going on in your head, if you're not honest with me, you're not going to get to stay here, you know? And like the last drinking experience, I was really lucky because the desire to drink was removed from me. You know, I don't know what it was, but it was. Thank God, you know, and because of that, I've like gotten to stay here. Yeah.
So with let's move on. We're going to get on to our topic here. And it kind of is, I think, works well with what you were just talking about here. Our topic for tonight is contempt prior to investigation. You don't know what you don't know. And so.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I feel like I know a lot.
Let's start with Chris here. So Chris, contempt prior to investigation. I know you've,
AA.
You talked a little bit about not really believing in it, or maybe even starting to, coming around AA and seeing other people and thinking this is just crap.
It really, and you know, AA's, it's not, you have to be willing to listen for a few minutes to somebody talk about the book and the solution, because you know, and what that looked like for me is that I had to be incarcerated. So there was nowhere for me to go. So I was exactly that. I was a captive audience.
There was minimal contempt just based on your your ability.
It's not like I could go anywhere. Yeah. This counselor there took the time out of his day to introduce me to Alcoholics Anonymous and read me the part in the doctor's opinion. where it talks about alcoholism in terms of like how we're restless, irritable, and discontented. You know, unless we can again experience that sense of ease and comfort that comes at once by taking a few drinks. And it just hit me like it just like floored me. I was like, oh, so like when I'm not drinking, that's the problem. Oh, that's why I drink, because when I'm sober, I'm fucking miserable. And then drinking fixes that, you know? And, but up until that moment, I mean, it was just total contempt prior investigation. And then there's areas of my life, marriage, kids, all contempt prior investigation.
Any area where I'm afraid of not getting what I want or losing something I have, I have contempt because I don't trust you. I don't trust. I know it worked for you, and this was very much with AA. I know it worked for you, but it's not going to work for me.
Yeah,
no chance.
And not that I didn't believe that it worked. Like, that's great. I believe you. Like, it's working for you, but you don't get it. You know, so
my case is different.
Exactly. My case is different. What did Clancy say? It's like the battle cry of the AA loser. You know, you don't get it. I'm different, you know? And so, and Sarah, what was your experience? You talked a little bit about some of that. Maybe if you could talk about a little bit more what it's like, you know, in your sobriety, where have you had some contempt prior to investigation, and where has that led you?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, I talk about this often of like, people talk about a spiritual toolkit. Like, I had my alcoholic toolkit too, you know, like I had so much, just like, there were so many walls, like there was so much defense that like, I felt like I always had to just be like, I was like, what is it called? Like white knuckling it through life, you know? And so I didn't trust fucking anyone because I was not surrounded by trustworthy people. And like, I wasn't a trustworthy person. Like, that's the key, you know? And so I don't know. I think that similar to what Chris said, like, I just didn't have anywhere else to go. And I think that I was just like too tired to go anywhere else, you know? Like, I just had been like really beaten down. Like I didn't have any other options. And like, I would have these moments like you talked about, and reading the doctor's opinion and like hearing those words that you relate to. It's like those little moments that just like push you along, you know? And it's like, for me, that was just like breaking down those walls. And like, I had felt so lonely, you know, like I talked about that. Like, it's like, I just was so lonely. Like, I was like in a room full of people all the time and just felt like I was like completely fucking alone. And so when I came to AA and like, I would say, I have these problems, I have these problems, I have these problems. And someone was like, maybe try this. Even though I fought it a lot, I would eventually take the suggestion because I was in so much pain, you know? And then it would work. And like, I would feel a little less lonely, or I'd feel a little more connected to someone or something, right? Sometimes it's just like feeling connected to the meeting. And like, that got me through that day, you know? And like, I don't know, now I feel like I'm fairly open because I've just been like beaten down to be like, no, you don't know shit, you know? Like, you like really get to a point where you're like, whoa, I have like none of the answers actually.
They used to say all the time to me when I was new, and I don't know if they still say it anymore, but they'd be like, MFP, man.
Yeah, more fucking pain. Yeah.
and I didn't know what that meant at first. And my sponsor, usually it was my grand sponsor, my great grand sponsor. I'd be like, you just need MFP, man. Just MFP. And I'd be like, what the fuck? What is this, like AA Jedi mind tricks? What are they trying to do? You know what I mean? And my sponsor was like, more fucking pain. But it's true.
Or they say you're getting ready.
You're getting ready. That's what I was just thinking. Oh, God. I hate that. Yeah.
Which is awesome. It's kind of worse, actually.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know what's coming.
Yeah.
No.
Like getting ready for what?
Yeah.
But it's also such a sideways thing to say, like, you're getting ready. I'm like, stop judging me from over there. What are you talking, getting ready?
I mean, sometimes there's nothing left to say but that.
No.
Yeah.
Because there's no convincing me.
No.
Everyone has to have their own. You got to hit a wall.
But thank God we have that experience, because now, like, sponsoring people and like helping other people, like I have the ability to meet people where they are, you know, and it's 100%. Like, I'm not killing myself over here to try and save someone when it's like, they really just need to have their own experience, you know? And I see people doing that and it's like, it's not going to work.
Can't save anyone.
No, 1000%. Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah.
There have been people that have come to AA that I love dearly and have had a huge impact on me and who are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And it's,
we see them coming to meetings right now and they're all messed up looking. And, and you just wish you could do more.
Yeah.
But, I can't plug them into my experience. They have to have their own.
They have to have their own. And it's hard because I feel like people have this idea of like, oh, if I leave AA, I'll just come back, and it's like, no. Like I have seen people leave and they are different and they are never coming back, you know, like, and that's the scary part. Like the thought of like me being the woman that I am today, like someone who actually like loves herself and has self-esteem and has an incredible life, right? Like I have this beautiful life and I could so easily throw that away and just be like, well, I'll come back to you if things get bad. And it's like, no, you might never get back, like, cause it happens. I've seen it happen. And I've seen people go out and drink and just become completely different people. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's like robots. I mean, maybe they're not coming back to AA, but they're not happy, joyous and free.
1000%.
That's the truth.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. With that being said, let's look at our next segment here. And this kind of goes right into what we were just talking about right now about leaving and drinking. So let's get into the newcomer tip of the week.
Yes. Ooh. So this for the listening audience, we've got looks like a millennial couple arguing.
We always have a picture up for
what it looks like.
If you're just listening on audio and you're not on the video, but it's a couple fighting with each other. And
she looks like she's giving him a business.
One of them either he's not going to meetings and he's not doing well and she's letting him know, or either she's not going to meetings and she's overreacting. You can't tell which one.
She's gaslighting him.
Yeah, you never know. It could be either.
I think he forgot to add cream to her coffee. She is lighting him up. Because she hasn't been to a meeting in 2 weeks.
So for the newcomers, we're really glad that you're here listening tonight, or maybe you're watching us on video. We're glad you're here. And every week we have a tip we like to give. And the tip is just don't drink. Just don't drink and go to meetings. Sorry. I'm going to try it one more time. Just don't drink and go to meetings is not the AA formula for success. And I think that's a good tip.
Close.
The reason is because you hear this in meetings sometimes. You hear this kind of stuff. Hey, I put my butt in a chair and I just didn't drink one day at a time.
Just don't drink. Keep coming back.
Come to the meeting and don't drink. And,
Sarah tried that. She felt like killing herself.
Yeah, I drank at first and then I wanted to kill myself after I tried it again.
And I don't know where I heard it, but alcoholism will settle for permanent insanity. Mm-hmm. You don't always have to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People have gone absolutely bonkers in AA because they don't have a solution, but they don't drink either.
Yeah.
And they've lost their minds.
Yeah.
And so for this one in particular, if the answer isn't just don't drink and go to meetings, what is the AA formula for success?
Yeah, I mean, sponsorship, right? Like, I don't know.
Steps.
The steps and getting a sponsor. But I think that I've even toyed with the idea of doing the steps myself in the beginning, right? Like just being like, I'm a grown ass woman. Like I don't need to answer to anyone was definitely the mindset that I had, but
that's that type A type of thing.
Yeah.
That we do I can do these steps.
Look at these steps.
They're not even one page of I can do this.
Yeah.
I have zero track record of success in my life anywhere in any department, but you know what? This time.
Yeah, it's going to be different.
It's going to be different.
I can read, Yeah. I mean, I think getting a sponsor and working the steps, but I also just have to plug getting roots in AA, right? And what I mean by that is making friends, not a network, friends, I just seriously, I fell into this group of women that just took me in and, we've lived our whole lives together and they've continued to course correct me without judgment, with love. Whenever I'm falling off, they push me to talk to my sponsor. They push me to being honest, and I just can't do this alone. And it's really that's what it is for me, I
think about the three kind of legacies. You've got the triangle, and on each side you've got unity, you've got service, and you've got recovery. Mm-hmm. And so the AA formula kind of revolves around those three areas. And you talked about, building relationships. And I found those relationships through service and through unity, an area that I did not want to participate in. But because I had a sponsor, like you talked about, I was willing to say yes, like you. I had no idea what I was doing. So I was like, all right, get some service positions, find a home group, participate in that home group. Don't just get there a minute before it starts and leave a minute after it ends. Maybe go out to dinner with some people, maybe help out with the committee for the conference or the camping trip or the whatever it is. Yeah. And through that, because a lot of people come in like, well, I was talking to somebody recently. They were like, it seems so cliquey. So cliquey. And I was like, well, what else would you expect it to be? Everybody here, they're getting to know each other better. They're participating in service. They're going to become friends. It's not a bad thing. If you see that, I try to urge people to say, hey, it may seem like that because you don't know anybody, but there's
always
value.
Room for one more.
1,000%.
Always.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's always room.
Yeah. And I think it's all like you talked about it, like a sponsor pushing you to do those things. Like I feel like my sobriety has just been like thousands and thousands of actions that I just did not want to take,
And the irony is, as much as you don't want it when you're new, I think about the relationships in my life. And I've talked about this a dozen times here. I mean, I celebrated 20 years and I had 50 people, 55 people at my dinner. Yeah. And I told my neighbor this and he was like, 55 people?
Yeah.
He's like, I couldn't get 5 people together if I flew them in from wherever they live. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like those relationships are, it's what I really treasure in AA.
Yeah.
Now.
We're lucky. We're really lucky. Yeah.
I tell people that we had 66 of us that went on an AA trip to Costa Rica together. 66 of them. I was like, most people literally like, I don't even know that, the amount of people in our phones alone, but
it's crazy.
The point is this, if you're new and if you're feeling discouraged because AA seems cliquey or it seems like you don't know anybody and everybody knows each other and you don't know where you fit in, you just got to show up.
Yeah.
Get show service, up to the meeting. Get service. Contribute. And it's not comfortable. It wasn't comfortable for me.
No.
Not at first.
But it's better than the alternative. And I hope it's better than the alternative for you if you're new, because that's when you may be willing to do something different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I have like a fraction of the time that you guys have. And like the only reason I'm part of this meeting and podcast is just because Chris suggested that I do some service. Okay. And that's how we became friends, John.
Yeah.
Like it's all through service. It wasn't like, I mean, you guys have known each other for like over a decade longer. And I'm here plugged in just by taking some suggestions.
I have a funny story about that, actually.
Let's hear it.
So
I love funny stories about Gabe.
So last week, we do this podcast in the basement of my home. And last week after the podcast, I get a text from my neighbor, my next door neighbor. She says, whose Tesla is that outside of your house? And I was like, oh, just a buddy of mine. And keep in mind, she's not a programmer or anything like that. She's like, oh, okay, yeah, I saw him. She's like, doesn't really look like the kind of guy you'd be hanging out with. And I was just like, to her, it was like strange because we are obviously our age difference. Yeah. There's a major gap there. You guys can't see Gabe, but Gabe has dyed his hair blonde and he's young. He's a younger dude, So, but it was pretty funny to hear her say that. And that's
basically calling you a creep.
I don't know. It was like, she was.
I think she was calling you a creep.
Oh, well, that would be accurate.
We're people that normally would not mix.
Yeah,
that's what we are, and we have a common illness and a common solution and, and I think it's enriched all of our lives,
Yeah.
Immensely.
It has. And so, again, why, and here's a question I think is good based on this tip. Why will meetings and just not drinking not work? Why is just not drinking not the solution? Because I think that a lot of people think that if I am not drinking, I'm not going to get arrested. I'm not going to be homeless. I'll be able to hold a job down. I'll be able to, write things with my family. What is it about that not being enough?
The drinking, the arrests, the things that happen to us, that is the final step. Mm-hmm. What people aren't realizing is that I will yell and scream at my wife. I will get divorced. I'll lose my kids, right? I'll lose my job. And then I drink.
So it's like,
Right.
it's what you were saying earlier, Chris,
So restless.
which was that the drinking is but a symptom of our alcoholism. And that actually what you realized was that the drinking was kind of the thing that saved us early on in our life. It was the thing that made me feel at ease.
100%.
So just not drinking isn't going to be enough, because if you're an alcoholic like we are, you're going to go back to drinking.
Yeah.
Eventually.
It sounds terrible, just not drinking. I mean,
I've tried it.
It sounds awful.
It was actually one of the darkest times in my entire life. Was prior to getting sober in AA. I went to Florida to stay with my mother, and there was no alcohol in the house. And I was
Florida.
Yeah, a lot of Florida stories, at least here at this side of the
A
table.
lot of migration down to Florida and back.
I was in Florida this weekend.
Really?
I was in Fort Lauderdale, yeah.
Nice.
And I was
But
like,
just for a
this is
visit.
crazy. Just for a visit, yeah. Someone was like, I could see myself living here. I was like, I can assure you, you cannot. Like, don't do it, you know?
Come on, there's nothing wrong with Florida. Man.
I'm not.
We don't have time for it tonight, but Sarah's got a ton of stories about Florida, but nothing. If you live in Florida, that's totally cool. I love Florida personally. I love the beach. I love the weather. And I lived there for a brief period of time.
I'm not making any
Florida
judgments
was
on
not the
Florida.
problem. I was absolutely
I'm not
the
making
problem.
any judgments on Florida. I'm just
I think
saying
it's more that a lot of people
go. A lot of people go
I think
back.
it's more that a lot of people think that they can move, and that that's going to fix them. They choose Florida because it's obviously nice weather down there.
Yeah,
And there's a
it's
beach.
nice weather. There's no doubt about it. So I love Marco Island.
Marco Island's a great place.
Beautiful.
Shout out Marco Island.
Shout out Marco Island.
Most people probably don't
Water's
know what
like
that is.
water's like bath water.
That's right.
Like temperature. It's just like you don't even know you're walking in. That's how warm it is.
All right, let's continue on here to my favorite part of the show, especially
man.
tonight. We are going to get into the sketch of the week.
Let's see it. Oh, look how happy that couple is. Because you know why, John? They found it online.
We found it online. That's right. The sketch this week is one we've done before. It's called "We Found It Online."
Sarah's like, what? She has no idea
So
what's happening.
we basically go online and we find some cool AA items on different websites. Some of the coolest AA things you've ever
I don't
found
know if they're
that you
cool,
never
man.
knew they existed. You never knew they weird.
Weird. Yeah, cool
I
is
like
not
it.
Odd,
I would
strange.
never use the word it's strange.
We've got
Yep.
some of them over here on our shelf, our
We do
display
have some-
shelf over there.
we do have some
We continue
swag.
to purchase some of the items. I will say this: stick around to the end, because the last item, I searched everywhere. I talked to the people at the store. They no longer have it. I'm totally bummed out. I'm gonna have to do some
I'm
more
gonna get someone on
research.
eBay, man. I bet you someone's got that.
I'm gonna have to do some research. All right,
Yeah.
we've got 3 items for you. Let's get into the first item. Ooh,
Prayer hands.
The Recovery Talking Serenity Prayer Keychain.
I think that's like a Da Vinci prayer hands.
This is a talking AA keychain
Oh,
that
it
says
says it?
prayers.
It says the
you
prayer.
push a button and it just spits out a random prayer. So if you're in a bind, maybe you're driving and you're in traffic,
And you're too lazy to say the prayer
you're
yourself.
too lazy
you know?
to say a prayer
You
yourself.
can't remember it. You just on the tip of your tongue, and you can't find the prayer.
Or maybe you want somebody else saying it with you. You want to have that
Yeah.
feeling like you're with another alcoholic.
I want to hear it. I want to know
I
what the
wanna
voice
hear it.
is. Like, is it Morgan Freeman? Like, is it, you know?
I gotta tell you, I bought some of them. They are on their way.
I knew it.
I bought
There's
some.
no way he did not buy it.
I'm buying every item that we put up here if I can. So
We're gonna have to do a whole episode where we give it away, dude.
Yeah.
Do some contests or something.
Yeah. Is it, what are the prayers?
I
Is it
know
one
that's
prayer?
true.
you know, I don't know
We're
what
gonna
they
find
are,
out. It's-
but we are going to find out what the prayers
Oh,
are.
it says there, just push the button and hear the serenity prayer.
Is it like
Oh,
Eric
it's a serenity.
Eric C's first prayer, where he prayed to a God he fucking hated?
You know what? It might
God,
just be
who
the
I
serenity.
fucking hate, please help me.
You know what would be nice is if you could get it in like the voice of your favorite celebrity or something.
That's what I was
You know,
thinking.
like some like
just
weird voice. It wouldn't just be like a random robotic voice. You could get it in like the voice of Morgan Freeman. like
Arnold
you said.
Schwarzenegger.
Arnold
hands down,
Schwarzenegger.
right?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. I wish I could do that
John
voice.
liked it. John liked it.
No, I thought about trying it for a
about trying
second.
it.
Then I was like, don't do it. This is
do
being
it. Don't do it.
recorded.
After. Yeah. I'll take a shot after.
Gabe, can you do the Arnold Schwarzenegger? Do you even know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, Gabe?
Dude, come on. That's so annoying. What an annoying thing to say.
I have to. You're young. You should like say something to me,
Yeah,
like
I'm not
you know,
stupid.
talk about
Okay,
something
try
old.
it.
No, I'm okay.
He's not going to do
don't
it.
No, especially not with this quality mic.
Yeah, no.
the
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's the mic.
that's our first item. Let's get into our second item. This one I thought when it came across it was a little strange.
This one was strange.
It's a Grateful I'm Not Dead coin. So basically, instead of like a regular coin you'd pick up for your anniversary, you get a Grateful I'm Not Dead.
Is this like a play on the Grateful Dead?
100% is a play on the Grateful Dead. Look at the colors.
Okay.
You've got the colors. But how do you give that? I mean, it seems just a little dark. Grateful I'm Not Dead.
Well, they're like the Deadheads. They're a type, you know.
100%.
One show at a time. That's their thing, right?
Is it really?
I
like
think
that?
so. Yeah, it's that or it's fish. They
There's-
do like recovery communities.
If you're out
Promise
there,
me we'll never ever have that as intro music. Gabe.
so I don't know. You never know. I mean, probably
No,
not because it's
I
licensed.
feel like we
but
know.
I was gonna say it
It's
costs
licensed,
money.
so we won't be able to.
Oh, that's too bad.
Here's what I'll say. If you're out there, just know that places like Grateful Dead shows and Fish shows, probably a lot of other, maybe some Pearl Jam shows, they have sober areas that people hang out.
Sober tents.
Yeah. So you can
Yeah.
be a part of the recovery community even at concerts. But Grateful I'm Not Dead, I thought was a little dark.
It's dark. It's morbid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is
So-
it says
It's a hard
Swarovski?
pass.
Don't
Really
worry.
pass on
I
this.
bought
Expensive?
I bought some.
Is it expensive? Is it like Swarovski diamond? Is it like diamonds?
Crystal.
Yeah, those are diamonds, Gabe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely crystals.
That's really cool.
Yeah. You should try to buy one and then sell it for more money at a jewelry store. All right.
What's next?
This is my favorite by far. I think I said when I sent it to you, I said by far the best we've found yet.
Oh my gosh.
So let's pull up the third one.
Dude.
This is the 12-step ball.
Oh my god.
Recovery version of the Magic 8 Ball. Basically, it's like having a sponsor in your hand at any time. You don't even need who needs a sponsor? Look,
That's a direct line to God.
I'll be honest. I bet I could get better advice from that than I could my sponsor. On some days, depends on the day.
I actually
shots
want-
fired. Do we have a
Yeah.
gun sound? Shots fired here. We don't. We
No,
don't.
wait, I do. I have something.
What do you?
What is it?
Oh, he's got the horn. He's got the horn.
The
Okay.
DJ air horn.
I mean, look, I will say this: the A program is fairly simple, and a lot of the time, the answer is a lot simpler than I want it to
Easy.
be. But
There's
here's,
so much shrapnel on here.
Let me give you some of the answers here. Number 1, call your sponsor. Number 2, you need a meeting. Number 3, one day at a time. I mean, that's just a few. So at any point, you can pull this thing out.
Easy
you're
does it.
struggling, and you just shake up the 8 ball and direct line to God, like you said.
Yeah, I want it. I don't know. I want one.
You know what? I would just end up throwing that at somebody's head if it didn't give me the answer I
That
wanted.
you wanted.
Yeah, just break. I remember we.
Oh, so I shouldn't stay home?
Does anybody else remember as a kid wondering what the stuff inside of the 8 ball was? Like I always wondered, it was like
As
glue.
a kid now, I don't know how it works now.
Well, you probably are.
Yeah.
They didn't even have 8 balls when you were a kid, did they?
I mean, they still exist. I mean, yeah, I was born
When
after. So.
But did you like have one? I feel like
The
everyone
only
had
8 balls
one.
I ever messed with.
Yeah,
were
we're
made up.
not.
I ran into them for sure.
The 8 balls changed over time.
Yeah, that's the only 8 balls I'm familiar with.
Point is I couldn't buy one. That's the point. The point is that I tried
it
to
out
buy
on
it.
eBay or
I looked on
Did you?
eBay. I
Really?
directly contacted the people asking them if they had any or they knew anybody who had them. Nothing. So the hunt is on.
Does it make you want it more that you can't have it?
I
yeah.
am. It's just. I'm gonna get one. If I have to fly to a manufacturing
Oh my
plant in
God.
China and ask them
No,
to
you will
make
not.
make
No, you
one
wouldn't
for
do
me.
Yeah, dude, he
You don't
learned
have to
Mandarin.
fly. You just email them.
We just email,
Yeah.
send
Yeah, I mean,
over
prototype.
You get it in like
please,
3
a
months.
new
Yeah,
prototype.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alibaba. Yeah. You can get anything made.
Yeah,
like
that's
it.
true.
Either way, I think that's the coolest item we've had so far.
It's cool for cool. I don't know about cool, but it's interesting.
It's interesting.
Well, that's another segment of We Found It Online. Stay tuned. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it again because I'll tell you what, I found so many other things already
I love
for the next time we do it.
This is going to be great around the holidays too.
It is.
We'll have to do a holiday version.
A holiday version. There's a ton of holiday stuff, actually. I saw some.
Yeah.
So weird.
Halloween,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, Christmas.
I'm thinking more probably Christmas. There was some Christmassy type.
Hanukkah.
Hey, I don't know.
A wedding gift, right?
Wedding
like,
gift. All right. So that
Just
pretty
saying.
much,
Yeah.
that we are out of time. That wraps up the episode. Sarah, thank you so much.
Thank you
For
Yeah,
coming on. You
thank you
did
for
a
having me.
wonderful job. It was really nice to hear your experience tonight.
Gabe clapping.
Yeah,
Gabe is over
clapping.
here clapping. Gabe, thank you. Chris, thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
To all of our online viewers, thank you for being with us. To all of our listeners on the different podcast
Thank you.
platforms, thank you for being with us. We are going to keep it going. We've got a great episode with a great new guest next week.
Yeah.
And we hope that you will,
It's going to be amazing.
we hope that you'll be back with us. So thank you for joining us.